My name is Wes from Cude Design, and today we will be building a charity website using one of my favourite themes, the Salient theme. And yes, so let's get going. So we've got a fresh installation here for WordPress installed, and this is the website we will be redesigning today. So this is our premium theme package. So this is like a low-cost website which just has a few pages, and also we'll be integrating GiveWP, which is a full suite charity plugin for WordPress. Gives us tons of features. So we're going to start working on the website now. So we got the homepage set up, and it's just the basic pages, and then we're going to actually import some previous styling from a theme from a website we built previously, just because the styling's pretty good in terms of the typography, and it just saves us a bit of time of re-entering all the same information again. Then we can just go from there to building the website. So we can just delete that for a while. So we're just importing the data from the theme from the previous website we built, and then we'll see the website change a bit. There you go. So we're not using these colors, but it sets us in a good spot for the styling of the website. So we're going to start with the header to begin with. So let's start with the header. We need to get the navigation set up as well. So let's get these pages built out. First off, we're going to add the pages to the website. So one thing we are doing is we're removing the news page from the website. So that makes it quite the navigation quite small. So we're actually going to bring these, we're going to get rid of this our work, and we're going to bring these pages into the top navigation instead of leaving them in the drop down. Otherwise it'd be quite small. So I'm just going to create a main menu here. Get these pages added. And we're going to add a pull right navigation. So show you what that means. Sealed up. So put that there. Then we're going to create a pull right menu to add a button for the donate. So we can just, there's an option here to assign it to the right hand section. And let's see how that looks. Great. Doesn't add a lot up into that. So we're going to think about this. I was considering about making the navigation centered, so we might play with that. If you go, it gives you tons of options, the Salient theme. So right now they haven't really got a great logo either, so I'll see if we can improve that easily. But you've got these layout and content related, so you can choose the layout of the navigation. So I'm not too sure which one. I was thinking about doing something a bit different, maybe putting the logo in the center. Then that would mean that the menu isn't highlighted. So we can play with that. I wanted to do something different, but then for practicality, it's quite nice to be able to. So we can change this to the button. It makes it stand out quite well, which is good for a charity website, and to have a call to action there. So maybe we'll just keep with what we were going with and using the normal navigation we work with. So yeah, we want to get rid of this top bar as well. So we've got this option, secondary navigation. So we can just turn that off. And then also we want to get rid of the account button, I think. I don't think we need that for this example. Yep, we don't need that either. So we'll turn that off. Okay, then we got to start working on the color scheme. That's probably where we start off next. So we've got that centered menu. Still seems quite over to the left. That does. Okay, that's made it go onto all one line, so I prefer that. That looks a lot better, I think. So let me see. Or even if I do this, that will get rid of the button and push that over there. So if we now, so that's got rid of the pull right menu. If we add donate to this menu and just turn that into a button, excellent, that looks a lot better. That's giving it a bit more freedom there. I'd consider getting rid of home as well. They haven't got home in their navigation. That would give us some more breathing space. The menu normally links there, but some clients just prefer to have home there because they think people don't realise that's how you do it. Yeah, excellent. So that's kind of perfect. I was going to go for the centered navigation, but that works well as it is, and the font's good. So now we'll work on the color scheme. So to work on the color scheme, let's see, they haven't really, they've got it in the logo, which I assume they're pulling from maybe the Kenya flag. But that's it. There's very little color scheme here. So the green isn't too far off, but it's not quite the same color scheme we want to use for the Kenya flag. We're just looking at this website, which is a color scheme generator. But I thought I'd just Google as well to see if there was any ideas here of what we could use. So I found this link here, which this green color isn't so bad. That's okay. So I think we're going to try to incorporate these ones and see how it comes out. So let's choose that one for the time being. Get the red in there. Let's see. There goes that, and we just got black and white as well. So let's see how that is. It's going to kind of clash. I want to keep with that color scheme, but at the same time, yeah, that doesn't look so good, does it? We can use that red, but it doesn't really stand out. Let's try. Use a different green there, like we did have before. That's not so bad. I think that's good. Unless we use a bright red. But I'm not so keen on using a super bright red. Let's see how that looks. So we can just change the color of that button by just going to appearance, and then we have these options here. So I'm not sure if it was that one. See if that changed it. Oh no, that's pulling the green from somewhere else. Okay. So this top bar is using a different green than that donate button. So we've just been working on the color scheme. We've just been copying the hex codes to a document. And what we've done is we've gone to the main navigation to switch up the color scheme. So now we've actually incorporated it, which I don't think is too bad. I personally wouldn't go for green and red immediately, but it kind of works. The donate button stands out really well, and it doesn't look too garish. I think it looks quite good. The legibility is quite good. So I think we could probably work with that. So we got the hover font. So let's get the accent colors back. Get this accent color. And then we get this into here. This should change the underline, I hope. Let's see how that goes. Yeah. So we got the colours there, so that works quite well. Then for the main section here, we're going to want to put a big image. So we've got to change what the home page is to begin with. We've got no blog on this website this time. The client doesn't want that, so we don't need to set the blog post. And then let's set thinking of a full-size image for the home. We'll see if WP Bakery, the theme has one. It has one already styled, so we can use this. This is all the pre-built elements they've used to build their demos, which we can pick between. So that's quite nice if we wanted to split it into two key areas. I'm not sure which two key areas we would split it into. Let's just see what that looks like. Might be too much going on, I think. Mightn't it? There's a lot happening there. So while it does look nice, it does look good, let's choose something else. We're going for full screen, we've got full video. We haven't been provided any videos for them, but that could work well. The only issue is that they are based in Kenya, and the client has mentioned several times that the internet's not great. So video might not be the best option in this instance. You can search for hero section. Not sure what that is. We've never used that one before. That's a new demo. That's pretty good. So obviously we'd replace that image, but that works pretty well, I think. We can find a good image to put there. So we're just building out the framework as it is at the moment. Doesn't have to be perfect. We're just building what we want in these sections. So we got 6 blocks there and a bit of text. So we're just looking to add a heading. See on the left hand side you've got all the pre-built elements you can filter by. So we're just going to look for something which fulfills these 6 blocks. We're using the same content as well, that's not being rewritten at the moment, so that's what we're looking for. Now we could just go for 3 columns, image top, and match this, but just make it look neater and more appealing, or we could try something completely different, kind of like this box here. I don't know how it works, but we can experiment to see how that comes across. So let's have a look, see what so this is a carousel. We've got some different options there, so let's just see how that comes across. So the font style doesn't really work very well there. I don't know. I'm not sure. I'm not sure if this is going to go look too fancy or if we should keep it more simple and neat. I'm going to keep that in for the time being, and we're just going to have a look at the other sections we need. So we need a video area. I think kind of simple for that. So we'll go for got these three here. So we've got to think how we're going to work this in, because this section is kind of messy. We need to work out how to break that up a bit, where this could potentially work here if we use that for this section, a bit of text, and we move these three icons into that section as well. That could potentially work. So it's way too dark at the moment, that section. We'll get that changed, but that could work for there. So we've got that section. Now we need to bring this in. So we need another like an about us section. I think I know what I would use for that. Use something quite visual. We're going to use an image like that, section like that for this text. We're going to split this up. This content is far too much in one section, so I'm going to split that. Move that in between there. I feel there we need to add like a call to action. I'm not sure what this section is exactly, but we'll add a call to action. That'll probably be completely replaced. So much there, unfortunately. So what shall we do? Not too many options. So let's add that there. So we've built the layout out, and now we're going to start adding in the images. So we're just going to copy them from the website for the time being. These are the best images we have. See how that plays out on the header. That works pretty well. We're kind of limited with the images we have right now, but in general, I think that's not so bad. So let's get rid of that text box at the right. I don't think that's really needed. We've got a call to action there as well, which isn't showing. So we'll delete that. See what's going on here. What's the next? Yeah, ignore that. And we need some text, which they don't have. Not sure how much space we've got, so let's try it. Might be quite a little text to fit in there. Yeah, a lot of text. Okay, so we need something a little bit shorter to put in there. Use ChatGPT to come up with something. So we're just going to ask ChatGPT to come up with a tagline to put on here. Be good, put something like that. This is just an example. The client can always change it. This is just, well, we're building the website. So, yeah, that works pretty well for the time being. That's looking good. So high res images will work really well here, but we can produce them later. For this, I think this is just too fancy and complicated. I think we should just build a grid here to make it super simple. I'm just not digging that. So we're going to have to build this manually because I'm not too sure of we'll double check to make sure. We just want columns really. It's that, but we want it spun around. We don't need those lines. Okay, so we want the images with a rounded border as well. Let's try this. It's not perfect styling, but it may work. So let's put this in here. Always the cache, just blocking that. Okay, that's a bit better. We don't need those borders there, so we do need to do a little bit more styling. Maybe swap the images around. Let's save these. Copy over this text. So we put this text in here. And then what is this section? It's about us really, isn't it? So let's put this here. We're not using the highlight colour in that. Maybe, oh no, we are. We are using that. Okay. Let's remove that. Things are loading a bit slow. I think that gets lost a bit there, maybe. We'll see. We can come back to that. This is generally what we were going for, but without those lines. So let's swap these around and get this text fitted in. So just adding these images now. We don't want the images to link anywhere. And then also, I want some radius on the image. Currently, they're just squares. And then also they've got this border pattern as well, which we'll be removing. So this is this border shadow. We set that to none. Might set it to a small depth in a moment. And then we want to copy over this text as well. And then we've got these lines which we don't want, so let's find out where that's coming from. So I'm assuming it's coming from here. Border simple. Nothing there. There you go. So we've got this. But it is getting a border from the top as well. So that was left and right, and then the row must also have a border rather than the column. Nothing about the border there. So let's just see how that comes out, and then we can hunt it down and remove it shortly. That's a big gap in between there. I don't think we need that big gap. Okay, and we need to get rid of that line. That text is a bit funny over there. I think it can come over here. There's a little bit of work for us to tidy up this section, but that does work better, I think, than what we have before. So let's do this. So at the moment it's full width, so I think we'll just close it up into the full width content just in the container. Find out where this border's coming from. No idea. Anyway, I'm going to move this over to here. That heavy text doesn't work out. I think something larger and lighter would be quite good. So let's get rid of that. We can amend that shortly. And then in the design, this content is far too close to the image, so we can add some spacing into that too. Oh crap. Copied the wrong one across. Okay, so that looks better. Still, there's this spacing in between the columns, so we'll just open that up a little bit more and remove this hover effect. I'm not sure if that's necessary, but that is definitely looking better. So we're going to put in the additional columns. So we've got 6 on the live website, so we're going to slot those in as well and add the call to actions. And then we can start working on the next sections. Built out the boxes now, which is good. We've got the 3 boxes. I'm going to be adding the call to action. So instead of using the button element, we're going to use the call to action element. And we've got the branding colours there as well, red and green. You'll notice this image here is, this box isn't aligned correctly. So we're going to have to use Canva maybe to resize this image to bring it in line with these ones so it looks a bit better. So let's get the call to actions in first. So you can see here we've got the call to action button, and then the style we're using the paragraph style, so just normal text. We can check out to see what it looks like with an H tag to see if that improves it or if it looks a bit too heavy. It's a bit annoying, the cache doesn't work that easily sometimes. Looks a bit shouty, doesn't it, with the capitals? Do is we will change the font element just to make that a little bit softer. We don't want it to be all uppercase. Just want it to be a bit normal. Maybe look a bit more friendly. That does look a bit more friendly. A bit small. We'll try the H5. Or we'll actually just increase the size. Let's increase the size a little bit. A little space into that. Okay. And that looks okay like that. So we're going to copy that button across now for each of the boxes. You can do this kind of easily, just need to use the copy function. Just copy that across for all the pages and then change the links. Now we've got this image which is out of size, so we're going to open up Canva and we're just going to resize that image. We want to check what size the other ones were. So these were all good. So that is 350 by 350. Okay, so that's why it was a bit smaller. So we're going to make it 350 by 350. It's going to make the image a bit pixelated because it's smaller than the 350. So let's try that. Is this one? So that I have to update this image if they want a better quality. Probably a quicker way to do that, but okay. So you can see the image quality isn't very good, but we're just going to have to roll with it for the time being. Delete that old one. Okay, and now we want to do these links as well to make sure they're going into the right place. So I'm just going to do that. So we're updating, I'll show you how it looks and then I can move on to the new section. No point you watching me just change URLs. So here we go. Got all the links in here. Find out more, nice spacing. And now that image is the correct size. There's some lower text, not using capitals here like the other titles. So that's from where I just copied it across from the main website. So I'll get them corrected. And I think we should probably add some text underneath here as well, just to introduce that section. So I'm going to add some lorem ipsum. And then we'll move on to this next section here. We now have the lorem ipsum text there, which I think is better than just leading with the title straight down into that. We've linked up all the buttons. Now we're going to work on this section here. So what this will be is this content area here. We're going to move that to here. We can probably make that a soft grey, replace this white area with soft grey, remove the transition effect on the image when you enter the page because it slides in, and we might even make that wider, it depends. So let's go ahead with doing this. So I think there's a big red button which transitions as well. I'm not sure how great that looks. So what we want to do now is, this text is quite nice as well. Might make that style too. So let's get that piece of text. At the moment it's quite small, just paragraph text. I'm going to use that again. That's quite good, that text. Okay, so there's that. And now we want to put this text in here. So first off, we're going to change the background area to grey. That piece of coding, it doesn't really affect much. So that's just come from the previous element which we imported from the theme. Stick that in, so now that should be grey. Let's get the text across. There's a lot going on here, there's quite a few. Let's make that the main title. And then we'll use these two as the text below that. And we'll just put that all together. And then what else? Now we've got this paragraph of text here. That goes to the contact page. So we'll probably have a donate button there still. So we need to get rid of this, and then we'll add some text box. And then try to get rid of this animation on that. So we've got a background colour here. I'm not sure how well that red works. Let's try the green colour. And then we want to remove this animation. Not sure where that's coming from. Okay, get that off. And do the same with this as well. There's the animation, the image slides over. We'll set that to none. And then let's see how that now looks with those changes. So that's we changed that text. It is okay, that's good. And now this box here, it's a little bit lined funny, isn't it? I'm not sure what's going on there. I'm going to need to add some padding. That title is very small. I don't think we need that the animation either, to be honest, with the arrow. I think there should be a donate button. Okay. First. Now we want to add some spacing here. This is working kind of funny, this box. Normally we've got padding here. I'm not sure what's happening here. Done that. I'll just refresh and lose those changes. Not sure what's happening with this layout because it says custom. We've got the option to add padding here. There you go, now it's come back. This might break the layout. So we can close off that margin. There's that space in between there. Let's close that down to about 30. Then padding, let's put in 6%. See what's going on with this title because it's so small. I thought it was an H2 tag. It is. We must have H2 tags really tiny in the typography settings. Let's see what we do. That is kind of small, isn't it? There's a lot of text in there. It's coming across, to be honest. Right now, we've replaced the element from the theme and just rebuilt that to something a bit more easier to manage. And now we're moving on to this section, which includes the video. And this will be incorporating this section plus the icons. So we'll remove what we don't need for now, the quotation box, that will close up the space. So what's going on here? So it hasn't used the testimonial box, it's just used, so we get rid of those. We've got the title here, need to copy this over. Then we're going to use these boxes here. And the client's going to have to provide some supporting content maybe to fill out these boxes. So we're going to want to put the video in here, and we're going to need to put background image in. And right now it's super dark, it's using black background. We're going to want to bring in the theme color of green. We got the video. Need to copy the URL and bring that over. So how this comes across. Oh, we've got to put in some icons, don't we? Okay, not too bad. A little bit hard to read this text, which is a bit annoying because it does work quite well, I think. It's quite nice. Maybe we need to make it darker or make that font. I'm not sure why that's not as light as the titles. So let's add some icons in here. Not sure if it needs icons. Let's try. We're looking for a love heart here, aren't we? Not quite like that. A heart. Probably going to need to go with white, I'd imagine. So you can either just do the icon, or you can do it with like a border, with a soft colour. So let's just see how this comes out. Not so bad. It does take up more space, does increase the height, annoyingly. Maybe we can get rid of the supporting text. So I'll just work on that. So we've made a bit more progress, jumped a little bit ahead. Sorry, if you're wondering what's going on, sometimes I just pause it while I figure out in my head what I want to do, because I don't think you really want to watch me thinking. So I'll just show you where we got up to now on why I've done what I've done. So just quickly, we've added this red box to go behind the main title. We've reduced the size of the H1 tag and added this red box, which I think works nicely. And then as we scroll down the page, we get to the video box, which I was trying to force these icons into, and it just really wasn't working with this green background. It wasn't looking very good at all. So I've got rid of those icons. I'm not sure how much they really contribute to the design, and they didn't come from that section either. I was just trying to force them in. But I think that's quite a nice video area, works quite well, it's quite bright. So what I'm going to do now is create a call to action section. I don't think this is going to work at all how I want it, so I have an idea which I'll work on now, and I'll just leave the video running while I work on it, basically. So what do we want to do? We're going to look to add an image on the left side and then text on the right, and we want a bit of a background colour here. Full width background. We want the green, but we're going to go for a light green, so we're going to add some opacity to that, and then it won't be as dark. We want it more of like a pastel green, because we've got this dark green area up there. We want this to be a bit more faint and subtle. And then we will want to add, I'm not sure if I should do this clean. I'll do this clean just in case. And to add a text box, I don't want the text box to go, I know, we want a row and we're going to split it into two, and then we're going to put the text box on the right hand side. We want to make this equal height if we get that. Yes, I want to make it equal height, and then we're going to put an image as the background. So we'll just put we'll just use any old one for an example right now. So we'll just put that in the background. That is what I was looking for, and then we're going to make this. We can't make this background. What would be able to make that white? Not sure. Maybe make it white here. Background color. I want to make that white. So the call to action. Do we have a call to action here? Okay, so we don't have a call to action currently. Go back to ChatGPT, just ask it to create something. Okay, add this in. We will pick one of these. Just duplicate something we used above. Okay, put the title in. And we'll choose one of these. Okay, so that's added in. Let's check out to see if we're on the right track. Okay, yeah, we are on the right track, kind of. That's too big. We need to close that up. But this is what I had envisioned. So let's continue and make this look decent. So first off, we want to close up that space. So we're going to close up this space here. So that's good. We then want to put some padding in this section because we haven't got any padding. So we want to put, say, some padding in there, all size. So that's going to give us some space around this box. We're then going to want to reduce the size of this title, so we'll make it an H3. We need to change the text to dark because that's missing. Yep, it's been. So let's get rid of that. And then I envision this to be. I wanted it to be rounded corners, so I just wanted it to be rounded corners on the. Let's see if we can do this here. Just put it in the middle. And then maybe we've got to, I want to put some rounded borders on these, but not on every corner. Border radius. See, I didn't want to do a border radius. Border type. Not sure how I'm going to do that. It's not important right at the moment. Let's just see how it's come along. Excellent. So that's looking pretty good. That's still very big, isn't it? So, and we need to add a call to action button in there. So we're going to get this down there. So we just want to copy this one, move it in there, and then this title is still huge. I guess we've been customized somewhere. Yeah. Let's delete that. Okay, so that's kind of small now, isn't it, for an H2? Need to open up that box a bit. This image is repeating as well, so that's not the image we would use anyway. So let's build that up. Let's make that an H2 actually. Or didn't appear to work either. Anyway, I'm going to build that up. We're going to do the footer as well. So the footer we got to put in the menu. How do we want the menu? Okay, let's put in the copyright. Let's do that. Then let's build out the footer, put in the right information. So we've got 3 columns. We don't need 3 columns. What have we got here? Let's put in the copyright information. So we've got the copyright information here. Let's take that from the website. Disable. Don't know why. Let's put that on and then see what comes out. Okay, excellent. That is exactly what we wanted. Just tone that down. I need for it to be all in capitals. Colour's not right at the moment, and this call to action needs to be built up a bit. I think it's maybe make that green a little bit faint as well, but we're getting there. Social media, they only have Facebook. Let's get their Facebook. The social media tab here. So we can delete all these. Okay. So we've got the copyright information in, which is right. There isn't much else, just the footer nav. So I would suggest that we should have one centered menu widget. So we'll save that. And then we're going to install the classic widget plugin because I've never got used to the Gutenberg block builder thing which I introduced. You got the footer area. If we added more footer items, they would appear there. And we're going to just put in a navigation menu and the main menu. Let's see how this comes out. Excellent. That's good. Besides the color scheme, the dark green doesn't work so bad actually. I think that looks alright. Adds to it being the footer. Let's have a look at that. That green coming across. Let's see. Yeah, that looks nice for a footer. There's a good contrast between the bright green, the pastel green, what we're using there. Wondering if we should make all the donate buttons red as well for consistency. To make them pop, I think that's a better idea too. So we're going to go back to the home page and finish off this design. It's basically there, and then we can start working on the inner pages. So let's start off from top to bottom. So that looks good. Donate, let's swap the color scheme of that donate button around. So we can make that color perfect. That plays good. Now this box is a little bit flat, isn't it? So I'm not sure what's happening here with the... Maybe I'm not doing that correctly. I must swap the colours of this around too. That's looking a bit better. Maybe even make that text a bit bigger. And then we just need to swap that image out with something which doesn't repeat itself. You can make it stretch, but we're only using it for an example anyway. I'm going to try using this image, center, and we want it to scale. That's not so bad, and then we can add some padding to this text area, I think. See what happens if I change the opacity of this to see if it improves the design at all. Okay, that looks pretty good. I like it with the darker green there, so I think we're pretty much there, to be honest. That homepage has got everything on it from the original design, so we can show you the original design here. So this is the original design. And this is the design we'll be presenting to the client for feedback. So thank you for watching. We're going to be, I'm going to show you how we build the inner pages too. I think that'll be an interesting case study. So if you have any questions at all, or you would like us to review your project, then just drop us a message and we'll be glad to help you.